I brought 1 million yuan in cash to the mountains to buy honey. But when I was about to load the trucks, all beekeepers raised the price together. They went back on all the prices we agreed on earlier. They even threatened to let the honey rot in barrels rather than sell it to me. Boss Shu, the current market price is 80 yuan per jin, but the purchasing price you offered is only 30 yuan per jin. That's straight up robbery. I stared at this unfamiliar young man, totally confused. The village chief hurried to step in and explain. Boss Shu, this is Songjia, Aunt Zhang's son-in-law. He's a college student who knows economics. Today he will represent all of us to negotiate with you. I saw all those familiar beekeepers hiding behind Songjia. Their eyes were darting around nervously. I realized this was not as simple as it seemed. Negotiate? We already signed the contract. The price is already fixed. What else is there to talk about? But I still kept a smile on my face. We're on a tight schedule, let's load the trucks first. We can talk about whatever issues you have after loading. We'll sit down and chat slowly then. Hold it! Aunt Zhang rushed out of the crowd. She spread her arms and blocked the honey barrels. I'd like to see who dares touch my family's honey. Aunt Zhang, what do you mean by this? We have signed a contract. It's written in black and white. Delivery is scheduled for today. Payment will be made in cash. Are you trying to break the contract? Songjia, who was standing nearby, suddenly snickered. Don't use that lousy piece of paper to scare honest people. This is a market economy. Everything must be done according to market rules. Then he turned to face the beekeepers. Everyone tell us how much honey sells for now. It's sold for over 80 yuan online already. Some are even sold for 100 yuan. One beekeeper pulled out his phone to show a price screenshot. Songjia turned to look at me mockingly. Heard that. Boss Shu, the price you offered is way too unethical, don't you think? Even though I was furious, I still explained to him patiently. Mr. Song, that's not how you calculate this. First, that's the retail price, not the purchasing price. Second, business values the spirit of contract. A month ago, when no one was buying honey, I was the one who offered the guaranteed price. Why didn't you talk about market economy back then? Besides, to make your villages honey easier to transport outside. Then I pointed at the road under my feet. I spent 200,000 yuan to build this road. I also gave you all those beehives for free. If we go by market economy rules, shouldn't these costs be counted as well? You did that voluntarily? Who begged you to build the road? You chose to build it on your own. That's your sunk cost. What does that have to do with our honey price? I stared at Aunt Zhang in shock. A month ago, she was just a simple farm woman who only knew how to say thank you, boss. Now she's even spouting economic terms like sunk cost. Then I looked coldly at Songjia. You taught her the term sunk cost, didn't you? I just helped the villagers learn some basic knowledge, so they don't get scammed by unethical merchants and still help count their money. Boss Shu, stop using the road as an excuse. Once the road was built, it's also convenient for your trucks to come and go, right? At the end of the day, you built it for yourself. Cut the crap. If you only pay 30 yuan per jin, you're not taking a single jin of honey away. If you want to load the trucks, you have to follow the current market price. So how much do you want? Considering you built the road, we won't ask for 80 yuan. Songjia held up a palm and waved it in front of my face. 50 yuan per jin, not a cent less. 50? The average purchasing price of national standard first-grade honey is only 35-38 yuan. You're asking for 50 out of nowhere. This is blackmail. Say whatever you want. The honey is in our hands anyway. Your 15 large trucks will go back empty. You'll lose at least tens of thousands of yuan for that. Plus the penalty for breach of contract. Oh, wait, no. Your contract is obviously unfair in the first place. We won't necessarily lose if we go to court. He leaned close to me and lowered his voice. Boss Shu, you can package this batch of honey and sell it for 120 yuan easily. It's not too much to share a little profit with us, right? Don't be too greedy, or you'll choke on your own greed. I looked at Songjia's face, full of scheming. Then I looked at Lin Dashan. Village Chief Lin, do you share the same opinion? Boss Shu, everyone is having a hard time. And the market price did go up indeed. Just do a good deed. 50 yuan per jin just means you make a little less profit, right? Make a little less? I originally planned to offer 38 yuan per jin. That was my sympathy for everyone during the cold wave. That was my gesture of good faith. But now these people take my kindness for weakness, and take my efforts for granted, these unreasonable folks. My good faith was basically fed to ungrateful jerks. I got more and more agitated the more I thought about it. But I held back in the end. I'm a businessman. I don't just care about financial gains and losses. I also care about how I feel doing business. It'd be a real waste of this batch of honey if we fall out right now. So I took a deep breath and pulled the contract out of my suit pocket. 50 yuan is totally out of the question, but I get that you've all been affected by the cold snap. So you're a bit on edge right now. I'm willing to meet you halfway. Songja's eyes lit up, thinking I was backing down. I'm not an unreasonable person. 38 yuan is the highest price I can offer right now. This extra 8 yuan is me, Shu, making friends with you folks. Load the trucks now. We'll pay you in cash immediately. Back then in the market, this was definitely the top purchasing price available. I thought I'd given them more than enough of an out. If they had any common sense at all, they'd take the out and settle. But I underestimated how greedy human nature can be. 38? You're giving alms to beggars. Songja already said, the secret recipe honey is 80 yuan, and you're only offering us 38. You're so freaking greedy. Boss Shu, are you messing with us? Not a single cent less than 50 yen. If you're not serious about this deal, you can just leave. We'll keep this honey and sell it via Livestream ourselves. We can sell it for 100 yuan then. Don't get jealous later. Yeah, we'll sell it ourselves. Crooked businessman. Get out of our beekeeper village. The beekeepers were all riled up by the provocation. Some even started shoving my driver. I looked at these vicious, snarling people, and suddenly the cash in my trunk seemed so ridiculously stupid. Back when the mountain roads were too rough to pass, local honey sat unsold year after year. The highest price they could get was only 15 yuan per jin. After I found out about this situation, I not only spent my own money to build roads, but also offered a high price of 30 yuan per jin. I also promised that no matter if it's first-grade honey or slightly lower quality honey, I'd buy all of it at this price. Considering honey's transport loss and freshness preservation issues, I specially ordered a batch of food-grade high-density polyethylene buckets. I also custom-made hundreds of new beehives with temperature monitoring systems. I shipped them to the village ahead of time as gifts for them. Unexpectedly, the whole country was hit by a rare late-spring cold snap. Wait, no, it was an autumn cold snap. Large areas of nectar source bases in the north suffered heavy frost. Several major honey-producing regions in the south also suffered from continuous rainy weather. Their output was cut in half. But due to Beekeeper Village's special geographical location, it sits in a microclimate zone between two mountains with a valley in the middle. Mountains on all sides blocked the cold current. Not only were the nectar plants unharmed by frost, but because there was less rainfall, the nectar had an even higher concentration. By this time, the market price had risen to 35 yuan per jin, so I made a decision to raise the purchasing price. I told the finance team to prepare cash based on 38 yuan per jin for the purchase. Boss Shu, doesn't the contract say 30 yuan? If we raise the price now, we'll lose hundreds of thousands in profit. Take a long-term view. I'm spending a little extra to earn their long-term trust. Let them know they won't lose out working for me, Shu. I thought sincerity could be exchanged for genuine kindness in return. Turns out I was just being arrogant after all. Fine, sell it yourselves then. I nodded and slowly folded the contract in my hand and put it back in my pocket. I turned to face all the drivers. There was no anger left on my face, only an eerie, unsettling calm. Everyone get in the trucks, turn around and head back to the city. Old Chen froze for a second. He almost dropped his walkie-talkie. Boss Shu, are we actually leaving? We've got 15 trucks here. We already spent a ton on gas. Should we talk some more? Offer them 40. This honey is really good quality. We can sell it for cash the second we get back. No more talking. Old Chen, remember this. You can earn back lost money in business. But if you let people walk all over you and still force a smile, you'll never hold your head high again for the rest of your life. Follow my order. Yes, sir. Attention, everyone. Pack up and head back to the city. This scene was obviously beyond everyone's expectations. They originally thought I'd beg for mercy or haggle over the price, that I'd be like a snake grabbed by the weak spot and have to agree to that ridiculous 50 yuan price in the end. After all, who would throw hundreds of thousands spent on road construction down the drain? Songju immediately flew into a rage and rushed over, pointing his finger right at my face. Yuan, you dare to leave. If you leave today, you'll be on your knees begging us later. We won't sell you a single thing. I stopped in my tracks and turned around. I stared at him like he was a total buffoon. Listen up, folks. Remember every word you said today? Is it me who's being heartless, or you who are being unjust? God is watching all of this. Quit using God to scare people. We're just protecting our own rights and interests. You're the one who's way too greedy. Fine, since you think you can sell for 100 via Livestream. I wish you all a huge fortune. This once-in-a-lifetime windfall. Aiju don't have the luck to take it. You guys can have it all to yourselves. With that, I got in the car without looking back. The second the motorcade vanished at the mountain pass, Fengyong village erupted in cheers louder than ever before. Right after I left, Songja hopped onto the big millstone at the village committee right after. See that, folks? That's what a capitalist paper tiger looks like. He's chickened out. 'Cause he knows he can't rip off our hard-earned money anymore. We won. Songja, you're the man. You even yelled that big boss right out of here. Hell yeah, exactly. Our honey is top-tier quality. Why would we struggle to sell it? Songja, let's run live streams to sell it. We'll sell for 80, not 100. That noon, Fengyong village felt like it was New Year's Day. They were caught up in the excitement of beating the capitalists. They had no idea they'd just severed the only link connecting this closed-off mountain village to modern commercial civilization. They thought they'd chased away a blood-sucking wolf. But what they actually drove off was the only person willing to deliver them coal in the middle of a blizzard. After I got back to the company, I told the CFO to take that 1 million yuan in cash and deposit it back into the bank. Boss, the 200,000 yuan we spent on road repairs, plus the cold chain deposit and packaging fees we paid in advance, add up to almost 400,000 yuan. How do we cover this loss? Consider it tuition for a lesson learned. Also inform the legal department. Prepare to sue all contracted farmers in Fengyong village for breach of contract. Odds are we won't get the money back. But I want a permanent bad mark on their credit reports, a mark they won't forget anytime soon. Got it. What do we do about the honey supply gap? Contact the base in Yuncheng. Their price is a bit higher, but they have more than enough stock. It's okay if we make less profit. We can't ruin our reputation. After I finished arranging all the work, I turned on my phone. I saw that on a short video platform, Songja had made an account called Fengyongjige. He'd posted a new video on it. College student returns to hometown to start a business. Let you taste the pure flavor from the deep mountains. No middlemen taking extra cuts. First live stream is tonight. When I clicked into the live stream room, there were already 200 or 300 people in there. He was standing in Aunt Zhang's yard. Behind him were piles of the dozens of big blue buckets I had sent over. The lighting was dim. The video quality was blurry. Songja was wearing that ill-fitting suit, screaming into the camera at the top of his lungs. Hey family, see this? This is all natural, pollution-free wild honey from the deep mountains. Today, Ziga's got a deal for you, family. Not $9.98. Not even $1.98. Only 88 yuan per jin. Free shipping straight to your door. In his hand was a spoon I originally had custom-made for sampling. He scooped up a spoonful of honey, holding it up to the camera to show the stringy texture. Look at this color and quality. Look how it sticks to the glass. If you know good honey, type want in the comments section. Aunt Zhang and a few other aunties were standing in the back as extras, with stiff fake smiles on their faces, holding up cardboard signs they found somewhere, with all natural scrawled on them crookedly. I glanced at the comment section. 88 yuan, that's so expensive. The supermarket only sells it for 40. Dude above, do you even know anything? This is wild honey. What the supermarket sells is just sugar water. Streamer, do you have a food business license? Do you have the SC certification mark? Which courier do you use? How's the packaging? This is agricultural produce. We grow and sell it ourselves. The government supports this. We don't need all those messy certificates. Plus, we offer free shipping nationwide. It's totally safe, we promise. After seeing this, I closed the live stream and let out a cold chuckle. Only the ignorant are that fearless. They thought live stream e-commerce is just yelling into your phone for a bit, then waiting for the cash to roll in. But what they don't know is without any brand endorsement, how high the cost of consumer trust is. They also have no idea that for fluid goods like honey, how scary the damage rate is for express shipping. If you don't use professional shock-absorbing, air columns, and custom foam boxes, 5 out of 10 bottles will break during delivery. The worst part is, they don't have a food production license. It's small-scale self-production and self-sale, though it's allowed under certain policies. But once it's listed on e-commerce platforms and gets targeted by professional anti-counterfeiters, it'll be a total disaster. Besides, Song just set the price at 88 yen. At this price range, consumers' requirements for packaging, services, and logistics are extremely high. They're using the most basic plastic bottles and want to sell at luxury goods prices. That's literally a pipe dream. Sure enough, problems popped up really fast. On the first day of the live stream, relying on the college student returning home, Gimmick and WeChat Moments promotions, they actually sold a few hundred orders. Aunt Jang and the others were over the moon. They stayed up all night filling honey into mineral water bottles and Lao Gamma jars to repackage the honey. Then they just stuffed them with newspaper, put them in cardboard boxes and shipped them off. The shipping fee alone was 12 yuan per order. The doubled profit song, which promised earlier, after deducting shipping and packaging costs, shrank a lot. But anyway, they still got over 70 yuan per 88 yuan sale, which is still way higher than my 38 yuan price. The beekeepers were super motivated. They even started mocking me, but the good times didn't last long. A few days later, batches of goods arrived at customers' doors. The disaster began. Songja, what's going on? This phone won't stop ringing. All the calls are people yelling at us. Songjae was lying on the Kong daydreaming about getting rich. He took the phone impatiently and looked at it. His face went white instantly. It was full of refund requests and bad reviews. Some customers complained about bad packaging and honey leakage. Some questioned the honey quality. Others even threatened to report them. Songja scrambled to explain. Dear, that was a shipping accident. Fresh raw honey naturally has a slight sour taste, but no one listened to his explanations. The platform stepped in. Due to the excessively high complaint rate and inability to provide complete food circulation qualifications, Songja's account beekeeper brother, Z, was directly banned, and his security deposit was frozen. What's even worse? Customers who received damaged packages not only demanded refunds, but also asked for compensation for their stained clothes and floors. In just 1 week, of the over 300 orders sold, the return rate was as high as 90%. The remaining 10% didn't get returned only because customers thought it was too much hassle, but they left bad reviews directly. Aunt Zhang stared at the room full of returned sticky packages, and the red account freeze alert on her phone, plopped down on the ground, slapped her thighs, and started crying. Oh my God.
What are we gonna do?
We've already spent thousands on shipping fees alone. We haven't earned a single cent. And now we have to pay compensation? This doesn't make sense. That's not what the online tutorial said. Songja was huddled in the corner, drenched in sweat, and had none of the swagger he had when he stood on the millstone bossing everyone around. The worst part is, because they used unsanitary containers for repackaging, coupled with the rising temperatures back then, the originally high-quality honey, without professional sealing and sterilization treatment, started quietly fermenting in the plastic buckets. The originally sweet floral scent in the air started to mix with a hint of sour, rotten wine smell. The Livestream account ban was like a basin of ice water that completely doused the false hype in the beekeeper village. In the village committee courtyard, facing a group of beekeepers holding return express slips and panicking like ants on a hot pan, Songja was still trying to act tough. Calm down, everyone. The platform banned us because they're jealous of our high traffic. If one place doesn't want us, there's always somewhere that will. We're done with live streams. We'll find other buyers directly. This is top-grade raw honey we have. Once we spread the word, loads of bosses will fight to buy it. Songja, is this even reliable? We've already spent thousands on shipping fees. We can't afford to mess up again. Uncle, don't worry. I'll make calls right now. Songja took out his phone, and in front of the whole village, started dialing the agricultural product buyers. He found through online searches, but what he didn't know was, the second day after he left Fengyang Village, I was in the WeChat group of the Provincial Agricultural Products Industry Association and objectively stated what happened in Fengyang Village. People in the supply chain fear dishonest suppliers most, so Songja started making phone calls. Everyone's reaction was surprisingly consistent. Hello, is that Mr. Wang? I have a batch of top-grade raw honey from Fengyang Village. Is Fengyang Village the one where Lin Dashan lives?
Yes, you know it.
That's great. This is the batch that Boss Shu refused to take, right? You guys have really big guts. You even stood Boss Shu up. I don't want to get dragged into this mess. I still want to cooperate with Boss Shu. Songja's face changed a little. Songja forced a smile and said to the beekeeper, Let's try another one. Manager Liu, you buy honey in large quantities, right? We have 30,000 jin here. What's the price? The original market price is 80 per jin. I'll give you a discount, 60 per jin. 80? Are you still not awake? Boss Zhang offered you 38 and you didn't sell. Now you want me to be your fall guy. I can offer 20 at most. Take it or leave it.
20?
Why don't you just rob us? Then keep it and drink it yourselves. Songja made more than a dozen calls in a row. Some were hung up directly. Others mocked as soon as they heard the word Fengyong village. Some even directly called them unreasonable villagers. The most ridiculous one was a boss who specializes in buying low-grade honey to make feed additives. He laughed loudly on the phone and said, "Heard you made Boss Shu so angry he left. Good job. But your honey has a bad reputation now. I can buy it. 10 yuan per jin. I don't mind that you guys have no credit. I make pig feed anyway." Songja hung up the phone in a hurry. Deathly silence covered the whole village committee yard. Songja, is this the everyone will fight to buy you talked about? Fight to buy my ass. You good-for-nothing fool. You're gonna kill everyone in the whole village. Uncle, it's not my fault. It's that Shu Yuan. He must have done this on purpose. He's blacklisting us. Boss Shu offered 38 and you didn't sell. You insisted on selling for 80. Now it's good. He offers 10 now. Give me back my delivery fee. My family paid 500 yuan for shipping. Didn't get a single cent. That's right, pay for our losses. And the 2 buckets of honey from my family. They went bad when we were repacking them. The beekeepers lost control instantly. The college student who was once put on a pedestal has become a rat that everyone wants to beat now. Songjae was pushed around and stumbled all over. His originally sleek hair was messed up like a bird's nest. I was listening in the office to this voice message sent by my informant and curled the corner of my mouth coldly. This is called cutting off your own escape route. The business world has its own rules. When you break the rules for small immediate benefits, the rules will crush you without mercy. I don't need to deliberately blacklist anyone. I just need to state the facts. And they will be automatically expelled by this credit-focused system that values credibility above all else. But this is not the most desperate thing for the beekeepers. If it's just that they can't sell it, at worst they can sell it at a lower price, or keep it and eat it slowly. But it seems like God thinks the lesson given to them is not profound enough. In the next few days, the temperature in the mountains suddenly rose strangely. It can even reach more than 20 degrees at noon. For honey, this is fatal. Although this batch of honey has good quality. But during the live stream, they kept scooping honey from the sealed large buckets back and forth for display. When they were repacking for delivery, they used unpackaged tools that were not disinfected. And for the convenience of packing, they didn't use the professional sealing lids I gave them. They just covered it with a layer of plastic cloth casually. This day, Aunt Zhang just walked into the yard. She smelled a strange smell. It wasn't the smell of flowers. It was a sour smell with the scent of distiller's grains. She ran over quickly and lifted the plastic cloth of a big bucket. The originally calm and translucent honey surface like amber was now covered with fine white bubbles. It was still gurgling up continuously. A strong sour smell came to her face. It was so strong that she almost fell into it. Honey, honey, come here quickly. Soon the whole village was in chaos. Not only Aunt Zhang's family, almost every family's honey had problems. The beekeepers cried and shouted one after another, looking at their honey that foamed and turned into sour water. They were at a loss what to do. Lin Dashin looked at the few plastic buckets that swelled up like balloons in his yard. He collapsed to the ground completely. He grabbed a handful of fermented honey and stuffed it into his mouth. He spat it out right away. It's over, everything is over. The honey has gone fermented. Now let alone getting 38 per unit. Even if we pay people to haul it away, they will still complain it takes up too much space. The original 30,000 jin of liquid gold has now turned into 30,000 jin of liquid waste that needs to be disposed of, just as the whole village was staring at the yard full of sour liquid wailing in despair. Songja was carrying a backpack, getting ready to sneak out of the village quietly. He had been hiding at his mother-in-law's place for days, too scared to go out. Seeing the honey had gone bad, he knew he might get beaten to death if he didn't leave soon, but he was quickly blocked at the village entrance by the beekeepers, who had been keeping an eye on him. You think you can run off with your garbage marketing theories? No way in hell. Sell this sour liquid for us. If you can't sell it, you're not leaving this village today. Uncles, everyone, this is a natural disaster. Force majeure, okay? I didn't expect it would get this hot. I didn't expect the honey would go bad either. You didn't expect Boss Shu came with a cold chain truck. You were the one who yelled at him and drove him away. Boss Shu sent us sealed buckets. You were the one who told us to open them for live streams. Pay me back my money? You ruined my life. I was so blind. To believe your nonsense. That's 60,000 yuan. That's money for my kid's education. Now it's all turned into sour slop. Give me my money back. Lin Dashan stood outside the crowd watching this farce. The long-stemmed tobacco pipe in his hand had already been snapped clean in half by him. He stared at the mess all over the ground, and suddenly recalled the look in my eyes the day I left. It wasn't anger, it was pity. What a sin. When Boss Shu offered 38 per gin back then, why was I so greedy to think it was too little? That was easy money right in front of me. Now the money is gone. Our business ties are cut. Our reputation is ruined. We've even torn up all our family bonds. Right now, the whole Fengnong village is filled with a disgusting sour stench. That's the smell of fermented honey, and also the stench of rotting greed. Meanwhile, in a city hundreds of kilometers away, I was sitting in a fancy restaurant, with a new business partner from Yuncheng sitting across from me. Boss Shu, thank you so much for trusting us this time. For giving us such a big order. Integrity is everything. As long as the goods are good and people are honest. Price is never an issue. My phone vibrated once. It was a video sent by my informant. In the video, the beekeepers from Fengnong village were surrounding the stack of fermented honey buckets, blaming each other, crying their eyes out. I glanced at it, swiped past it with a blank face, and turned off the screen. Is everything okay, Boss Shu? Nothing. Just watched a not-so-funny comedy skit. But the story didn't end there. People only remember the road. They once stepped all over. When they have nowhere else to go, I knew they would be coming soon. That day, I just finished the morning meeting, getting ready to go back to my office to handle paperwork. The receptionist Xiaoli ran in a panic. Boss, there's a commotion downstairs. Commotion? Where are the security guards? The security guards can't stop them. There are too many people. Over 20 people are holding a banner. Some are even kneeling at the entrance crying. They say they are your fellow villagers here to apologize to you. I walked to the floor-to-ceiling window and looked down. On the plaza in front of the office building, a group of shabbily dressed, skittish people were crowded outside the revolving door. The once arrogant Songjia was being held up by two people right now, his head hanging low. Aunt Zhang was kneeling at the very front, kowtowing to the security guards. The banner had a few crooked red characters written on it. We sincerely apologize to Boss Shu. Please save Fengnong Village, Boss Shu. I let out a cold laugh. How ironic, a month ago, they called me a blood-sucking evil businessman at the village entrance. Yelled at me to get out of Fengnong Village. Now they have traveled hundreds of kilometers, kneeling downstairs of my company, begging me to be their savior. Boss, should we call the police? No need, let them wait downstairs. Leave them hanging for an hour. That 1 hour must feel longer than a century. For the group of people downstairs, the head of security came up to update me on the situation. Aunt Zhang has fainted from crying twice already. Lin Dashan keeps slapping himself in the face. And that guy named Songjia was forced by the furious beekeepers to kneel at the very front. His face was covered in black and blue bruises. He obviously got beat up pretty bad before coming here. Then I brought my secretary and several senior managers and slowly walked out of the office building. The several airtight buckets they brought along weren't sealed properly, so air got inside during the bumpy ride. The sour, rotten smell of fermented honey spread all over the fancy CBD square, making passing office workers cover their noses and glance over. They avoided these people like they were cursed. This used to be their proud liquid gold. Now it's a mark of shame they can't live down. The second they saw me walk out, the noisy crowd went completely silent for a second. Then they burst into heart-wrenching wails. Boss Shu! Oh, Boss Shu. Thank God you're finally here. Boss Shu, we were so wrong. We're total jerks. Boss Shu, please help us. Our whole year's livelihood depends on you. Boss Shu, I'm kowtowing to you right now. I was being totally stupid back then. I listened to Songjia stirring up trouble. Please be the bigger person and forgive us. Please take this, honey, we're begging you. Aunt Zhang scrambled to her feet, trying to rush over and grab my legs, but two huge security guards stopped her firmly. She was crying as she slammed her forehead against the granite floor, making loud thudding sounds. Lin Dashan walked up shakily, holding a crumpled, dirt-stained contract in his hands. It was the exact one they treated as trash before. Boss Shu, we want to go by the contract. 30 yuan, no, we don't even need 30. 20 is fine, just take the honey away. Give the villagers a way to make a living. Songjia was cowering at the back of the crowd right now. Like a scared quail, he had none of the arrogance he had before when calling all the shots. I stood on the steps, looking down at all of them. Their faces were bright red from the cold wind. their eyes full of humility, fear, and pleading. There's no way these faces match the greedy, vicious, arrogant faces I saw a month ago. But I remember clearly. I remember Songjo saying only poor idiots sell for 30 yuan. I remember Aunt Zhang saying the contract didn't count. I remember Lin Dashan saying everyone's having a hard time. Village Chief Lin, you remember the contract now. When I brought my trucks to your village back then. Didn't you say it was just scrap paper? Lin Dashan's face turned beet red with embarrassment, the hand holding the contract frozen in midair. He didn't know what to do next. Boss Shu, all the mistakes are on us. It's all Songja's fault. He lied to us saying we could sell for 80 yuan. He edited photos to spread rumors. Boss Shu, we brought him here too. Do whatever you want with him, as long as you take our honey. Boss Shu, I was wrong. I was being an idiot. I don't know anything about the law. Please let me off the hook. Songja was lying on the ground, shaking all over, begging for mercy through sobs. Watching this whole farce, I felt nothing but disgust. All right, cut the act. You hate Songja, not because he lied to you, but because he didn't help you make money. If you really could have sold for 80 yuan that day, would you be kicking him to the curb now? You'd be treating him like a hero and laughing at me, Shu Guiyuan, calling me an idiot. The crowd went dead silent instantly. The beekeepers whose thoughts were exposed looked at each other and hung their heads in shame. I slowly walked down the steps and walked up to the bucket of honey Aunt Zhang brought. I paid for that blue plastic bucket myself. The outside was all dirty. Sticky liquid was seeping out from the edge of the lid. I reached out my hand. Before I even took off the lid, that pungent, sour smell hit me right in the face. Is this the sincerity you're talking about? Smell that. This is vinegar, not honey. Boss Shu, even if it smells a bit off, it's still edible. We just need to process it a little. Process it? I run a high-end food business, not a garbage collector. The yeast level in this honey is tens of thousands of times over the limit. It would pollute the environment, even if I pour it down the drain. And you want me to take it? We can lower the price. 10 yuan, just 10 yuan is enough. It just covers our hard work. Village Chief, do you still not get it? This isn't about money. I spent 200,000 yuan building the road for you. I spent over 100,000 yuan giving you beehives. I brought 1 million yuan in cash and a fleet of trucks to your village, offering you a high price of 38 yuan per kilogram. That was my sincerity. That was my trust in you. But you threw my trust on the ground and stomped on it, even spat on it twice. Now that trust is broken, it can't be pieced back together. Forget the fact that this honey has gone bad. Even if it was heavenly ambrosia, I still wouldn't take it. Because the name Fangnong Village, in my eyes, and across the entire agricultural product industry, already has a totally rotten reputation. Boss Shu, you can't just leave us to die. You built that road? You can't just abandon us. That's right, I built that road. When I built that road, I originally wanted to bring the god of wealth into the village, to help you get rich. But I never expected that after the road was finished, the god of wealth didn't enter. Instead, the greedy devil inside your hearts was let loose. You can keep that road for yourselves to use. Whether you can get out of this mess depends on your own luck. With that, I didn't spare them another glance. I turned around and walked towards the building. Heart-wrenching wails came from behind me. The security guards formed a human wall, holding them firmly outside. I was completely unmoved. I didn't pause my steps for even a second. I know I'm being cold-hearted right now, but I know even better that being kind to dishonest people is cruelty to those who keep their word. Back in my office, I stood by the huge floor-to-ceiling window, watching them look like stray dogs, carrying a carload of stench and regret, disappearing from my sight. There was a cup of freshly made honey water on the table. It was new honey from our Yunnan base. It had a golden color and a lovely rich aroma. I picked up the cup and took a sip. It was so sweet. This is the taste of a solid contract. As for those people from Fangnong Village, they are destined to swallow for the rest of their lives the bitter fruit they brewed with their own hands. That taste is more poisonous than arsenic, and way more bitter than coptis root.